Okay, we'll start with chanting. Om Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunatu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvi Navaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So first we will go over very quickly the content of last class, which is where is it? Please bear with me for a second. Yeah, so we will start with the three schools of Vedanta. Anybody has any question on that? Anybody has any question on the three schools of Vedanta? The dualistic school, the qualified non-dualism or non-dualistic school, and the non-dualistic school of Shankara, and Sri Ramakrishna's Neo Vedanta, how he reconciled the three schools, the teachings of three schools.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The difference between that Dvaita and Vishishta Dvaita. So, my difference, what's the difference?
So again, Dvaita is God is always separate from us, from the devotee. God is always separate. It's not part whole relation. It's not one and the same relation. So God is always separate from the devotee. So devotee is praying to God and asking for help or whatever he is doing. God remains separate from the devotee in the dualistic school. In the Vishishtadvaita, in the qualified non-dualistic school, what they say is God is not separate from us. God is the whole, we are the part. Each one of us are part of God. We are not disconnected from God. We are connected, and the relationship between us is God is the full, we are the part. Like God is the whole tree, and we are like a branch or a leaf or a flower or anything of that sort. Any parts of that tree, we can imagine that we are that, and God is the whole tree. Same thing with the sun. A single ray up from the sun, we could imagine ourselves as that, and God is the whole sun. That is that. But the idea behind the reason Sri Ramakrishna, reconciled, not the reason, but it's not that he wanted to somehow bridge the gap, saying that these are not different. It's not like that. What Sri Ramakrishna is telling is a natural transition, natural progress. It happens from the Dvaita to Vishishta Advaita to Advaita. And the way it happens is, very simply put, one of you has to mute probably because it's we can hear the noise. Ashokda or Ishita, I don't know who.
I am out of it. I cannot see.
Oh really? Ishita, is the same thing with you?
No, I can see you, but I cannot see the screen.
Oh,
I don't see the screen or anything, and that's why I cannot.
yeah, so we are having a trouble and we cannot fix it right now. What we can do, you can follow the slides that we are referring to right now, the three schools of Vedanta, that slide.
Yeah, Dada, I am following the slide.
Okay.
I am muting myself like
Okay, thank you. But if you have to share something, say something, please unmute and
sure.
yeah.
Sure.
And so the natural transition, what Thakur Sri Ramakrishna is telling us, is that initially God is external to us, from the devotees. And from that, slowly through the sadhana, we internalize God. We internalize God. God becomes part of us. We feel the presence of God inside us. So God is the whole thing, but we are just a part like that. And as we progress in our spiritual practice, there will come a time when we will not see the separation between God and us. If God is inside us, if He is the indweller, and He is through inside, He is doing everything. If He is inside me, He is inside everyone. And if He is everyone, I am actually in the middle of, it's like an ocean surrounded, and you are just one part of it. You are just a wave in the ocean, like that. But slowly we know that gap between the external and internal goes away, disappears. And we see that we are that God. All the time that we have been referring to externally is actually my true nature is that God. So it's no different, my true nature is no different from what we have been referring to as God. But that comes at the final stage of realization. So until then, we have to evolve and refine our ideas about God. So initially external, then slowly internalizing God, and then at some point we will see that there is no internal, there is no external. It's God only, Brahman only. That's the idea.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Is it a natural phenomenon that goes in this order, or?
That's what Thakur said. Sri Ramakrishna said this is the natural progression of any devotee. It goes through the dualistic idea of God to qualified non-dualistic type of idea that we are part of that. We're not completely, the idea is, the olden days, or some people even now, we have the idea of God-fearing. We even use the word God-fearing. We fear God, as if God is some person who is, standing with a stick in his hand, and he will just beat somebody, one of us, if we don't do things right. So from that, we evolve from God-fearing to God-loving. So we are in the process what we are doing is, we are trying to bring God closer to us. God is not somebody, just sitting in the middle of the sky or far away from us. No. God is very close to us. It's the closest you can think of. That's the idea. Through spiritual practice, we are bridging that distance between God and us, God and the devotee. So with the spiritual practice, slowly, God comes nearer and nearer and nearer and nearer, and finally merge with us. So actually God is not merging, we are merging. What happens is, there is nothing, no changes in God, and that is one of the aspects of God. God never changes. But what happens is we are changing. In our mind is evolving through the spiritual practice, not just by sitting in the couch. Through the spiritual practice, we are evolving, we are refining our ideas about God, and slowly we come to the conclusion that all the time that God we are talking about, referring to, is none other than myself, my true nature. So that's the whole idea. And I will mention another thing a little later. We can skip these slides. Those who are on the phone, we are at the Shankaracharya's teaching methods at a glance. We are on that slide. Somehow the slide number is not coming up either. So it is that colorful slide where you actually have on the left Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and the title is Adi Shankaracharya's teaching methods
Number
at a
is
glance.
41. 41.
41 is the slide number, in case you need to refer to that. So one thing I would like to mention here, on the left we are seeing that all those things on the top is part of the Karma Yoga, and right below is the Jnana Yoga. So what is the result of this karma yoga? What do you think is the result of output of this karma yoga? All these on the top, when you're doing, before we reach the Jnana Yoga, what do you think, knowledge of Brahman is the outcome of Karma Yoga?
Preparation transcends you to the next level.
Right. So if our goal is the knowledge of Brahman or Atman, the Karma Yoga cannot be doing that, because if it is doing that, if you have reached the goal, then why do we need Jnana Yoga? Simple logic, right? Why do we need, in case of Shankara's teaching, why do we need Jnana Yoga if Karma Yoga is doing everything?
Method of which.
So, the purpose of Karma Yoga is Chitta Shuddhi, purification of mind. And as Deepa said, it is also the preparation for Jnana Yoga. It's the preparatory state. And I need to mention here one thing, the difference between some of the other teachers and the way Shankara put it. Shankara didn't agree that by Karma Yoga itself you can reach the goal. The reason he put it is, he said simply, why does anyone do karma? Because he or she has desire. That's why to fulfill that desire we are doing karma. If you think about it, any kind of karma we do to fulfill some desire. And why do we have desire? He's asking us, why do we have desire? Because we have ignorance. That's why you have desire. Otherwise, if we are not ignorant, we are completely fulfilled. We have no desire, right? So he's saying, first of all, you are doing karma because you have desire. And you have desire because you have ignorance. And how can you use ignorance to remove ignorance? That doesn't make sense. So karma itself, however much evolved karma you do, you cannot use karma to get rid of your ignorance. But what you can do, you can purify your mind, karma, to the choosing the right type of karma, you can purify your mind. Chitta Shuddhi can happen. That's what Shankara's, there's a subtle difference between when you see Swamiji saying that karma yoga, any one of the yoga you can take it all the way to the final goal, God realization. We have to understand slightly differently in what context Swamiji is saying, in what context Shankara is using the term karma. But we will not go into that other context. Here in Adi Shankaracharya's teachings, that is the difference. He is saying karma yoga we need as a preparatory state for purification of mind. Once we have that purification of mind, through all this sadhana chatushtaya and all that, when we become adhikari, when we become the competent student, then we can move on to the Jnana Yoga part. We will be eligible to take up Jnana Yoga at that point. We are moving to the next slide. I believe it is 42. Adi Shankaracharya's teaching essence, the gist of Shankaracharya's teaching, we have gone through that. Brahman alone is real, world is illusory. Individual self and Brahman are one and the same thing. So in Sanskrit it's a very popular thing, right? Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jiva Brahmaiva Naparaha. So can any of you tell why he is saying Brahma Satyam? We have talked about it last time. Why is he saying Brahman alone is real?
Unchanging.
Yeah. So reality, the definition of reality is that which doesn't change. And we know what is the nature of Brahman. First of all, Brahman is pure consciousness. Unmixed consciousness, sometimes it may, if we say consciousness, it may be construed as it's conscious of something, but it's not conscious of something. It is the consciousness itself. It is the existence itself. From that perspective, we cannot even say Brahman exists. It doesn't make proper sense if we say Brahman exists. What do you mean? It is the existence itself. It is the consciousness itself through which we know anything and everything. So, in a class, in a philosophy class, somebody was asked, the teacher was talking about consciousness and all that, then he asked, John, what do you think is the definition of consciousness? He said, it is that annoying time in between two naps.
That's
His definition of consciousness.
That's true though.
But of course, here they are talking about a different consciousness. It's the pure consciousness, and we know the nature of Brahman. The nature of Brahman is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta. Nitya, eternal. Shuddha, pure. And we can use that Nitya for everything else actually as the adverb. Is eternally pure. Nitya Shuddha. Nitya Buddha. Is knowledgeable, eternally knowledgeable, conscious, eternally aware, eternally conscious, and mukta, eternally free. So Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Svabhava. That's the nature of Brahman. So, and that is only one. Brahman is only one. So that's why it says reality is only one. Another name for reality is truth. So Brahman actually has so many different names. Satchidananda is another name. Satchidananda. Again, the noise is coming somehow, so please mute all your computer. So that is one name. The another name is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Then, instead of Anandam, it is Anantam, infinite. So there are different names for Brahman. So from that perspective, there is only one reality, that is Brahman. There is nothing else but Brahman. Everything else is a manifestation of Brahman, is a projection of Brahman. Projection is, you can think of a spider web. As it projects the web from inside, and then it retracts after some time. So that's what it does. Just like the spider web, it's actually projecting the whole creation, if you want to call it creation, but it's actually projection. It's projecting outside and then retracting inside. So in essence, there is nothing other than Brahman. Brahman is the only thing. But if you are not, our problem is we don't perceive it as Brahman. When we look at this tree, when we look at each one of us, does it remind us of Brahman? No. So that is what the ignorance is all about. But a realized soul, when Sri Ramakrishna is looking at us, he sees as Brahman. When Holy Mother looks at us, she sees as Brahman. So, and she also knows the other part of it, that she also knows that we don't know that. You know that joke of Maharaj. So one guy went to a psychiatrist and said, doctor, I have a problem. I said, what's the problem? I feel I'm a worm. You feel you're a worm? And what is happening? I said, I think chicken is coming to eat me. Okay, we'll work on it. Just have patience. And then he was treating him for 6 months or so. And the date of the release, he was in his office. He was sitting next to him. And he said, okay, today you are going home. And you might want to follow these prescriptions, medications. And all of a sudden, he just jumped onto the doctor's shoulder. The doctor was so surprised. Hey, what happened? What happened, man? He said, that I see a chicken coming from the other side of the street. Man, how many times have I told you that you're not a worm? Don't worry about it, you're a man. Act manly. Why are you so worried about? He said, no, doctor, that is not the problem. I know I am not a worm, but the chicken doesn't know. So, that is the problem. In our case, the holy man or a person like Holy Mother or Thakur or Swamiji, not only they see us as Brahman, but they also know that we don't know that we are Brahman. And because of that, we make mistakes. they also understand that. They are so compassionate, they understand that, and they, based on that, they give us instructions and try to help us to improve from wherever we are. So, and why is world illusory? Jagan Mithya, why is it Mithya?
Because it's a projection.
Anyone else?
It's a projection, is that?
Yeah, it's both the truth. It's changing first of all, so it cannot be reality, and it's a projection. Remember that classic example of rope and snake?
Yes.
We are superimposing snake on top of rope. Rope is here Brahman, reality. In reality, there was nothing but rope lying there. But in semi-darkness, meaning in ignorance, we are seeing something other than rope. We are seeing it as a snake. The snake is Jagat. So that is our perception of the reality is Jagat. He is saying our perception, your perception is wrong. Because of ignorance, because of semi-darkness you are seeing, bring in the light of knowledge. You will see the rope as rope, not as snake. So that's the whole idea about Jagan Mithya. We are superimposing something else on Brahman, the reality. We are superimposing Jagat, which is always changing. Jayate gacchati iti Jagat. Jayate, it's born in time. Gacchati, it's always moving. And it goes out of existence also in time. So by definition it is moving. It's born at some point, moving all the time, and it goes out of existence at some point. So jayate gacchati iti jagat. Jagat, gati. So that cannot be Brahman. And finally, individual self and Brahman, the essence of that, we have to understand that essentially the substance in individual soul and Brahman are one and the same, no different. And from that perspective, the holy people, the saints, see us God in us actually, in each one of us. It doesn't matter how ignorant we are, but they see God in us. Because their focus is on the Satchidananda part, not on the Namarupa. So this is the gist of Shankara's teaching, yes.
Like the rope is, like the snake is actually the rope, then what is the world really?
What is the word?
Really? Like how the snake is really the rope, what is the world really?
Yeah, so in semi-darkness we were seeing it as a rope, snake. When we brought the light, what did we see? Rope. So where did the snake go? It wasn't there to begin with. But we thought, because of our misunderstanding, we thought it was snake. So what we see in the world is our mistaken ideas. It is actually God. They use the term Brahman, which is nothing but God. What we see, each one of you, even the chair, table, the carpet, the trees, the plants, animals, everything is God. It's a manifestation of God. God has become that. That's the idea. So they are nothing but no other than God. But because of our ignorance, wrong understanding, we think, oh, this is a human being. And within the human being, we are making so many distinctions. Oh, he is American, he is Indian, he is African, he is white, he is black, he is this, he is that. All this distinction we are making because of ignorance. But we are all children of God. We are all children of God. And God can produce only God. Only godly things God can produce. So essentially we are God, but because of our ignorance, we don't know that. So that's why we need to do spiritual practice. With that, I will not go into this thing. Okay, we will move to the Sadhana Chatushtaya. The first one, if you remember the four things, Chatushtaya, the four means, sadhana, is the Viveka, Vairagya, then Samadhi Shakshampati, the 6 treasures, 6 wealth, and Mumukshatva, the 4th one. Right? So the first one is Viveka, and this is so important for any kind of, we should not think that, if we are interested in Shankara's teaching, we need to understand Viveka or Vairagya. It's not like that. It's the essential, integral part of any spiritual teaching. Doesn't matter what you take. Whether it's Bhakti Marga, Jnana Marga, Raja Yoga, or anything that you think, you have to develop these qualities. And there is a Bengali song. It says, এসেছে নতুন মানুষ দেখবি যদি আয় চলে তার বিবেক ও বৈরাগ্য ঝুলি দুই কাঁধে সদা ঝুলে A new man has come. এসেছে নতুন মানুষ. Who is that new man? They are not talking about Paul Newman. He is talking about Sri Ramakrishna Thakur. He is a new man. Why is he a new man? The rest of the poem actually shows why he is a new man. And I will not go into that details, but in the first 2 lines, it says, he is always carrying in his shoulder bag, he has 2 shoulder bags on both sides, and he is carrying Viveka in one bag, Vairagya in another bag. So, this is the Viveka and Vairagya is the integral part of spiritual practice. So without that, we are not moving anywhere, any path, any spiritual path. So, and he is saying that, come, see this man, is actually referring to Sri Ramakrishna, who has these 2 treasures in 2 shoulders. Those times there was no backpack. Otherwise they would have said, Sri Ramakrishna, can you see the backpack with Viveka and Vairagya? They used to carry those cloth bag, right, on shoulders. So you can imagine him carrying those 2 shoulders, meaning those 2 treasures are always with him, Viveka and Vairagya. And not just for him to practice. Out of his compassion and grace, he is actually, that is one of the lines actually, Dui Bahu Tuliya Daki, Aire Tura Aye Chule. He is calling all of us, come, get this treasure. To improve from wherever you are, you need this Viveka and Vairagya. So, and the rest of the poems are also very interesting. But what it means is, we have to have these 2, Viveka and Vairagya. And what does Viveka means? It means discerning or discernment of permanent from impermanent. That which is permanent from the impermanent. We actually have to make a distinction. Something that is impermanent is moving always, that we cannot rely upon it. It's always moving, always changing. If you find a person who is, one day he's telling one thing, next day he's telling another thing, that's the opposite, how can we rely that person? Similarly, Jagat is like that. Everything is moving in time, in Jagat. That's why, and time is actually playing with us. We're not actually playing tricks on us. That's what we mentioned last time, that Shankara's Bhajagovindam. Nitya always says that, why does Shankara always say us fools? That it says, Bhajagovindam, Govindam, Bhajamuramate. You fools, he's telling in the first line of itself. You don't feel like reading the next one. Feel like, but it's very important. And he is explaining, he's just not saying that you are a fool. He's telling us why we are fools and how we can get out of that foolishness. He's telling us. And in one of the stanzas he is saying that, Kalaha Krirati Gacchati Ayu Tadapina Munchati Asha Vayu. In every stanza he is actually referring to the time. Time is actually playing tricks on us. One time it is there, the other time it is there. I have so much money in the stock market, crashed and it's gone, all money gone. Beauty is there on one day, the other day, next day beauty is gone. wealth, beauty, this, youth, all these things at some point is there, some point it's gone. Time, kalaha kridati. Kalaha kridati, gacchati ayu. Life is faded away. Life is faded away. Tadapina munchati asha vayu. Even then, we do not realize and we actually keep on hanging on to our desires. The desires are not dying. Even though we know everything is fleeting, one moment it is there, next moment it is not there. The life itself is as temporary as that. This moment it is there, next moment it may not be there. Even then, tadapina munchati asha. The desires are not dying. So he is saying that try to find the permanence in the impermanence. That which is not changing. Try to understand that. Try to focus on that. So the first thing is, especially where we are today, it is kind of lofty idea to think that, real versus unreal, temporary, permanent, nitya, vastu, viveka, and all these are nice terms. Those are true, 100% true. But how do we practice that? So Maharaj, Swamiji always talks us in these terms. At our level, we need to find out what is happiness, what is causing happiness and what is causing misery. Try to analyze that in every situation, not just even from spiritual point of view, even from regular day-to-day life. If we neglect our body is going to that has a consequence. It's going to react in a very bad way at some point. So similarly, if we are wasting our time and energy in wrong kind of activities, that will have its consequence. You may not realize that, but sometimes I think there is a phrase also like that fools learn from their own mistake, but the wise learn from others' mistake. So we don't need to commit the same kind of mistake to understand, oh, this is the consequence. Oh, okay, now I understand. Can I not see around the world, around us, and see, somebody is doing something, what is the consequence? Yeah, there might be some difference in the samskaras and all that, but can we not see most of the things, at least, if not all, most of the things we can see the consequence. If this is what he is doing, he or she is doing, then this is what happened, the consequence. Should I need to go through the same process to learn?
Especially if it's causing misery.
Yeah, that is what is causing misery. So we need to find out what is happiness, what is the cause of happiness. Just like we're talking about the body. If we keep our health and the body healthy, then we know that so many problems we're relieved from so many problems. So shouldn't we be trying to keep a healthy body? Similarly, if we keep on pumping, junky stuff to our mind, at some point it will revolt, and it's going to go. It will have its own effect. So what I am seeing, watching, what I am hearing, all these things we should be careful of, because those have consequences. Those will bring misery later on. If we keep on hearing, watching the wrong things in the TV or in the internet, or hearing wrong things, that will have its impact. So we actually have to understand, analyze what causes happiness and what causes, and ultimately, from the spiritual point of view, anything temporary, if we rely on that, whether it is relationship or objects, it doesn't matter, it's going to bring miseries to us. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna is saying that think, your parents, your children, they all belong to God. They don't belong to you. They belong to God. Through God we can understand we need to serve them, whether it's children or parents or neighbors or friends or siblings. We actually have to serve them thinking that God is manifesting in that form. Our duty is to serve them. Serve God through them. Not because he is my parent or he is my brother or he is my children. Because God has given me this responsibility. Through the form of children they came. Through the form of parents I have this responsibility. Through the form of teacher, through the form of student, I have this responsibility. So I have to carry out my responsibility thinking it has come from God and it is God Himself who has come in that form. So let me serve God in that form. That's the idea Sri Krishna is saying. So what are some of the right questioning we can do? Why am I worried about temporary things? Most of the time, we are not even thinking about the problem. Sometimes we think, why am I not worried about this problem? I should be worried. So that is even a worse situation than thinking about the problem. So but here it is saying that anyway it is a passing thing. Why are you, spending all your energy for this passing thing? It will pass one day. Don't worry about these temporary things. If there is anything to learn from it, learn. Move on. Don't hang on to it. Don't dwell on it. Don't brood on it. Is what I am undertaking necessary for my spiritual growth? Any activities that I am undertaking, I am going through, taking up. Is it going to help me in my spiritual life? Will it actually help me in my spiritual growth? And again, Maharaj, when he says the spiritual growth, he means three things. Growing in goodness, growing in wisdom, and growing in happiness. And if you look at it, those are actually a smaller version of Satchidananda. Growing in goodness, Sat is existence, but it also means goodness. Good is Sat. Truth is Sat. Several meanings. So growing in goodness, growing in wisdom, knowledge, growing in happiness, Ananda. So we can test it ourselves. Are we growing in these three? We don't need to invite a Swami to tell us this. Maharaj says we can test it ourselves. You can think, am I from 5 years back, was I more happy? Was I more, the goodness was more then or now? Have I become a better person? From both goodness, wisdom and happiness. So that is, anything that we do, we should question ourselves, and we should not think that when we are sitting in front of the Lord in the shrine, where we should think about this. Anytime, any type of activity, I am talking to somebody. Is it really necessary? Is it going to help any one of us spiritually? Is this conversation necessary? Is this time that is spent necessary for my spiritual growth? Like that. So we need to analyze that, and these are all part of the right questioning in the Viveka. And then we should reason and understand properly the world of objects and relations can give pleasure, success, name, fame, money, all those things. We know that. We are all professionals. We know that those are achievable through the world of objects, the worldly objects. If we seek after that, we can get it. It's a proven fact. But what it cannot give is lasting happiness. Eternal happiness and security, it will never give. The permanent happiness only can be obtained through the reliance on something that is not changing, which is Brahman or God, another name of God. So if we rely on God, we will be secured for life. But if we are going through the enjoyment of worldly objects, sometimes we don't have a choice, because that's how we are brought up, that's how our samskaras are. As long as we understand that that is not the goal, it is okay. Swami Vivekananda said that just because you cannot reach the ideal, don't bring the ideal to your level. So this is the ideal, whatever I am doing is the best thing. No, I understand that I should reach here, but I am incapacitated, I am incapable of reaching there today, this moment. So I know that I have some drawbacks. I'm not there yet. What I am doing may not be the right thing. This is much better than thinking that, oh, whatever I am doing is. And some people even go further. They say, no, Thakur is doing everything. So Thakur is actually, they might be doing, some the things that they are not supposed to do. No, Thakur is actually making me go through this now. So everything that I am doing, Thakur, who else is there but Sri Ramakrishna? Ramakrishna is acting through us. It's better to think that not understanding the ideal or not being able to follow the ideal, this is what I am doing, but this is not the goal. I should remind myself this is not the goal. Okay, I have to learn something from this. The experiences of this world, the interaction of these objects is there for a purpose. It is for me to understand what things are. Because ultimately what happens is all this success, name and fame and all that, when we get old and when we are young, we have all the energy and, out of youthful exuberance, we can, reach the peak of Mount Everest. There is no problem. I can do all those things. But sooner or later, when we grow older, all our hopes are dashed and we see that where is that permanent happiness? We thought, if we keep on accumulating this thing, that thing, and all this happiness that comes from object X, Y, it will be summed up, X plus Y plus Z, it will be infinite amount of happiness. We understand at the end that that's not true. That's not true. So, why wait for when we become 80 years old? What's wrong in age 8? We can start practicing from now. Wherever we are, and think of the nature of Brahman, which is nothing but our true nature. Brahman is not a person that's sitting there that we have to understand his nature. It is our only nature, our true nature. It's not, they're not talking about somebody else. Our true nature. So sooner we understand that, one Swamini, a very young Swamini actually, from Sarada she had given a wonderful lecture. In that she's saying that if you know that you are spirit, you will be a better. If you are a student, if you know that you are a spirit, you will be a better student. If you are a farmer, if you know that you are a spirit, you will be a better farmer. So like that, if we know our true nature, whatever profession we are in, whatever activities we are in, we will be excelling in that. Because now we have no delusion about ourselves. We know who we are. What is our true nature. So it is, and that is all about knowing that essentially you are the spirit, is all about spirituality. Right? You are not a limited being, a human being, or an animal, or this or that. You are that all-pervading spirit, pure consciousness. And in the process also, once we do that, right determination needed to practice Viveka, discrimination. Again, the term in the scripture it is used, translated as discrimination, but we should not think of it as some other types of discrimination, like racial discrimination or color discrimination or gender discrimination. They are not referring to those kind of discrimination. It is the discrimination from the real and unreal, the permanent and impermanent. That's the only thing. And so what should be the right determination? I want to apply all my energy and time in positive thoughts and activities, which will take me to my real nature. Because that is the goal. Ultimately, that is the goal. Why should I, be involved in some frivolous activities that will take me nowhere, and going round and round, taking another bath. Why go through that? I should apply my energy and time in a positive way, positive thoughts. And I want to live in the present, not in the past or future. That is another problem we have. We keep on thinking either the past, all the things we have done in the past, and always those are glorious days. Oh my God, how I wish I could become that 8-year-old when I was going to this school. I have so many friends. All those are glorious. Even the future is also glorious. But the problem is present. But how much time we waste thinking about the future, either future or past. There was a sloka, I don't know if I remember, it says, Atita anusandhanam, bhavishyat vicharanam, Odasinnam api prapte, jivan muktasya lakshanam. They are talking about jivan mukta. But any jnani you can think of, Atita anusandhanam, inquiring to the past, bhavishyat vicharanam, thinking about, analyzing the future, how things might turn out in future, what wonderful things can happen. One day I can become a CEO of the company. Thinking about that now. And all the good, wonderful things that can happen in future. All in the past. Inquiry into the past. Atita anusandhanam, bhavishyat vicharanam, odasinnam api prapte. The jnanis become odasin, meaning indifferent. Absolutely do not care about what happened in the past. Absolutely do not care about what will happen in the future. I live in the present. This is the moment I have. This is the best time I have. That's why the present is called gift. Gift, another name for the gift is present. This is the best thing that I have. I must utilize the present moment. That's all I have. I have no control over past. I have no control over future. This is what I have. In fact, how I behave now will determine what will happen in the future. So let's not think about the future, think about how we can properly manage the present. Yeah.
So, is it not possible to use the past experiences as an example to make life better today?
Absolutely. So there, what happens is, you got a good point. What happens is there are so many things we can learn from the past. But if you analyze, when we are thinking about the past, we are not always thinking about what are the things that, what do they say? Take away. Take away from the past and move on. Using that, we keep on brooding on the past. How wonderful that time I had with this person, that happened, this happened. And we stay in that. We never come out of that. So that's what happens, those insects go after that light and get absorbed in that. They die in that. They don't even come out of that. That's what happens to us. There's nothing wrong in going back to the past, learning through whatever mistakes we have made. Quickly use that to move forward. We don't do that. We stay there forever. Same thing with future, daydreaming. How nice things, what all nice things can happen. We keep on thinking. And in essence, what are we doing? Wasting our present moments. Wasting valuable present time. We are doing. So, Atita anusandhanam bhavishyat vicharanam odasinnam api prapti jivan muktasya lakshanam. This is the sign of jivan mukta, jnani's sign. We don't have to be a realized soul to understand that. Even now, to be a wise person, we should not waste time on thinking about analyzing the past or future, what can happen.
Is it good to think about the body as matter?
Right.
Like the body is just matter and different from the spirit.
Exactly. All this body is nothing but matter. And matter we know, it goes to the Shadvikara, Jayate, Varsate, and all those things we have talked about. The 6 changes, 6 modes of changing, is always changing, and it will die. It will go away, it will go out of existence at some point. So this is all matter, and that's the difference between some people who think matter is the reality. It's a very good point Melissa brought. We think, majority of us think that whatever we are interacting, there's nothing but matter. Even objects and the relationship, human beings or animals, if we look at it as matter, we think matter is the reality. But consciousness is the product of matter. But it's the other way. It's the consciousness is the reality, matter is the product. Consciousness is manifesting as matter temporarily, but it goes out of existence. So the real essence is consciousness. That's why Swamiji said, in the East, in the West, they say, I am the body, but I have a soul. But in the East, we say, I am the soul, but I have a body. Just like Melissa said, anything matter comes and goes. Body is nothing but matter, including mind, is material. After a big discussion of matter, mind and matter and all that, so somebody raised a question, one student, does mind have matter? And he said, never mind. What about matter? Does it have mind? It doesn't matter. So we do hair-splitting discussion on mind and matter and all that thing. But according to Vedanta, the body, mind, all these are nothing but matter. It's all material, it's physical. So it comes and goes. Something that doesn't come and go is the pure consciousness. That Chaitanya Swarupaha, Sarvagataha, all pervading, Ekaha, only one, Nityaha, eternal. That's the nature. You want to say something? So, and what is the determination? I want to be truthful and unselfish, not always focusing on myself and my own, my children, my parent, my sibling, my this thing. No. Everybody is mine. The whole world, I belong to the world, not even a country. What is Shankara saying? We're talking about Shankara's teaching in the Annapurna Stotram. How does it end? Mata me Parvati Devi, Pita Deva Maheshwara. So who is my real father and mother? The Lord, and the Parvati and Shiva. They are my father and mother. Mata me Parvati Devi, Pita Deva Maheshwara. Bandhava Shiva Bhaktascha. Who are my really friends? Devotees of the Lord. Shiva Bhaktascha, not the Shiva. Devotees. They are my real friends because they are also pursuing the same goal. They understand my problem. They also can help us. And then Swadeshu Bhuvanetrayam. The whole world is my Swadesh, is my country. My country is not America or India or something like that, Africa. The whole world, I am a citizen of the universe. Again, we don't have to say that to an immigration officer at the airport. But in our mind, we know that nothing that prevents us from thinking we are the citizen of the world, not a particular country. So everybody is, and if everybody is children of God, Amritasya Putraha, we are all siblings, doesn't matter whether African or American or Indian or French or whatever. We are all siblings. We came from the same parent. Amrita is our parent. Who is Amrita? Amrita?
Mother.
Yes. Jagat Janani. Jagat Janani is our real parent. That's why she is called Jagat Janani. So I want to be truthful and unselfish, not thinking about all the time selfishly about what will happen to me, and all the time thinking about any activity should not center around how it will affect me. No. Think about others, how it can be helpful to others. And in one place, I think Swamiji or someone actually said that ever since get up from the bed in the morning, we should think about how I can help, how I can contribute, how I can give, not get, what I can get, I'm going to work, how much salary I can draw from Rockwell. Yeah, that's fine. But at the same time, how I can contribute? What can I contribute to Rockwell? What can I contribute to my society? What can I contribute to my family? Always thinking about giving. We should not think about what I can get from the family, how they can, do this, do that for me. No. That's why we mentioned that President Kennedy mentioned, ask not what you can do for you, what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Same idea. Always think about what I can give, how I can contribute something to the society, to the world, to the country, to the family, to the house, to the wherever I am living, in whatever context I am in, whatever the scope I am within, how I can think about others. Not just thinking about myself, and my immediate family. That's the worst thing. So I should be truthful, practicing truthful. And Maharaj says that this practicing truthful is a wonderful thing. Speaking truth is just the beginning. If I always hang on to that practice of speaking truth, that leads us to seeking truth. Speaking truth leads us to seeking truth. And that leads us to seeing truth in Maharaj's words. From speaking truth to seeking truth to seeing truth, I will be confronting the truth, which is Brahman, which is Atman. So that is my goal. But we have to start from truthfulness, practicing truthfulness in everyday, day-to-day life. So, and one interesting thing is, I don't know if you have noticed, if we follow strictly truthfulness, that gives some kind of power, some inherent power that we get. And even if for some reason, if we have to lie, for whatever reason, good reason, bad reason, sometimes we call it white lie, this, that, that makes us very weak. I don't know if you have noticed. If for some reason, if we have to lie, that makes us very weak. The moment we follow truthfulness, that gives some power comes from somewhere. So that is the power of truthfulness.
When you say truthfulness here is just meaning lies? No.
No.
What is the meaning when you say truthfulness?
So it starts from the meaning that, whatever is happening, we, describe that as is, without any distortion. Let's say I have gone there and somebody asks me, what happened there? What did you see? Now if I start, spicing it up, and for jokes we can do it. But for other things, for reality, we should not, fabricate a story. That was not the case. So repeating what I have seen, what I have heard, as is truthful to begin with. Then, as we interact with people, we can see that sometimes if we tell a lie, and depending on the situation and how convenient it is, we may say, oh, this is nothing. Oh, this is not a lie. This is actually, it's not harming anybody, so it's there in this life. That is how it starts. It may not harm anyone else, but it will harm us if we do that. Because remember, every action has a reaction. Every action has a consequence. So if we start practicing, in the scripture, it's told many times that if somebody practices truthfulness for 12 years, don't ask me how they came up with the number of years, 12 years. If you practice for 12 years, whatever you say will happen. Or in other words, if you say that somebody is going to die, that is not the intention of practicing spirituality, is not truthfulness for 12 years. it is what is happening. Anyway, that person was going to die, but you can see that. It's not that because you are telling he is going to die, no. Anyway, that is going to happen. So that is the result of practicing truthfulness for 12 years. Yes, sir.
So, truthfulness is also, I think, being truthful to yourself, right?
Yes.
Because you have to admit to yourself what you are. You have
Yes.
to be truthful. You cannot imagine and
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. Because we can fool others by telling lies here and there, but we cannot fool ourselves. We cannot fool ourselves. All the things that we need to practice, spiritual practice. One day I might get up in the morning and think that I have made so much of progress in spirituality. I don't need to look anywhere else. All the things I'm supposed to do, if I rank myself against those, where am I? That will tell whether I've made a huge amount of progress or not.
That is like you don't have to lie or you don't have to tell the truth. Whatever is happening, if you can keep yourself, is that good? You don't have to tell anybody because she will know, she will love you.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you have to tell something to somebody. If you are telling something to somebody,
It's good.
it's better to follow truthfulness
Yeah.
and not fabricate and add all kinds of
Not
stuff.
make it confused to anybody like that.
Yeah, and again, like Lakshmi said, more than confusing anybody, at the end, we will be the sufferer.
Right.
So because of that, why do you think these great souls like Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swamiji, have so much of power? Power and purity comes from truthfulness. Every single word that comes out of their mouth is truth. That's why in the Western country, when Swamiji was giving a lecture, somebody asked one lady, I think Josephine MacLeod or somebody, I don't remember exactly whom, how do you like what you hear, what you heard today? He said his first word was truth, last word was truth, in between was truth. Truth, truth, truth. Anything and everything that he said. That was the feeling she got actually from that, hearing that sermon or the talk. And that's what happened when Swamiji in the Parliament of Religion got up and said, brothers, sisters and brothers of America. The whole audience rose up and they were clapping and clapping for 5 minutes. That, continuous ovation. Why it happened? There's so many analysis of that. And in all these, they said that audience, when they heard that, they failed. He is my brothers and sister. I can rely on him. And where does that come from? From purity, from truthfulness, practicing truthfulness. The power that comes, that everybody feels that he is my own. He is not just saying for the sake of it, brothers and sisters, the way we say good morning and good afternoon, with no meaning at all, thinking, whether any good happens to that person or not. Not like that. When he says brothers and sisters of America, he is feeling as close as brothers and sisters for them. And they feel, not only from his point of view, he felt that. And that's why he said that, but from the audience also they felt. So that is the power of truthfulness and power of purity, fallen purity. So of course, what Lakshmi said, we have to be truthful to ourselves. We can fool others, but we cannot fool ourselves. We can say all kinds of things and maybe, like I said in the, few minutes back, that doing all kinds of things, maybe Thakur wants me to do it this way. He was so careful about Thakur's teaching now when you are doing things wrong. No. It is better to admit that no, what I am doing is not the right thing, but one day I will improve from where I am today. That's why Swamiji said, just because you cannot reach the ideal, do not bring the ideal to your level. Let the ideal remain at the ideal's, and slowly, gradually, progress towards that. I think we need to stop here. Sorry, we could not make a whole lot of progress beyond in the Sadhana Chatushtaya, but hopefully it will help all of us. We'll do the concluding chant. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.